So it's a lesson 11, part 3, and we've successfully integrated our file upload into our ability to add a new game, but we are going to have run into an potential issue with duplicate file names. So to prevent this, we're going to add a little code into our save game page. Before we call move uploaded file, we want to rename the image name so that it is unique. So here's how we're going to do that. We're going to use the session ID. So PHP has a built-in function called session ID that will return a unique string. So what we're going to do is we're going to prefix whatever the file name is, it's game.jpg, we're going to prefix it with the current session ID. So this way, if I upload the same file, like let's say in 2 different browsers, the session ID is going to be unique for each one of these. So I'm just adding this one line, and it's got to go above our move uploaded file. So before we save it to the IMG game uploads, we're going to name it uniquely. So I'm going to try this out. I'm going to upload the same exact photo to 2 different games in 2 different browsers. And each one of these should have a unique name. So I'm going to go and try it. I'll try it in Firefox. I'll also try it in Chrome. So delete this. So I'll call this unique image 1. I'll just pick, and I'm going to use this same logo for 2 different games in 2 different browsers. So I'll save that. And now if I look, it's got my original name, but it's prefixed with this session ID. So I'm going to go to Chrome, create a second game, and I'm going to upload the same file, but this time the session ID should be different. So I'll go to Chrome. I'll sign in here. I want to choose the exact same image. It's called 5o'clockshadow.png. So it creates my 2 different games, but now you can see this was my Firefox upload at 102. Here's my Chrome upload. So now, even though I've uploaded the exact same file with the same name, each one is going to be named uniquely now. So if I look in my database, 2 files that are actually sharing the same image, but I've got a copy so that one doesn't overwrite the other. Now, there are different ways of doing this. You could use like a date and time stamp if you wanted to as part of the file name. I find using the session ID works well enough, works fairly well for making sure files don't get overwritten. So this line of code in blue, line 66, this is the only change. to what we have added on GitHub. Are there any questions about what we're doing here? So our file upload is working when we add a new game. This code runs regardless of whether we're adding or updating. But we also want to modify now our update command. We've included the photo when we're inserting, but it also now needs to be part of our update statement here on line 78. This should be relatively simple to modify. So I'm going to put a comma after the publisher ID. And add photo equals colon photo. So we're going to add this in the middle. So when we're updating a game, it's also going to include the photo. So here's I'll put the full update statement in the chat. So we're just adding the photo column and parameter into our update. We're already binding the parameter down below, so that part's done. Now I want to go back and make a change on the game details. So if we edit a game that has an image, we can actually see the image. So there is an image attached to this, but we can't see it right now. So let's add a little check on here. If there is a current image, we want to display it. So that'll be back on our game details page down near the bottom of our form. After this section, but before our save button. So we'll come down here after our last field set. We'll put in a little PHP if statement. We'll say, if there is a photo, let's display it. So display photo if there is one. So I'll come back down there in just a minute. So we can say if game photo isn't null, we're going to echo out an image tag. Whoops, I want to put this in single quotes. IMG game uploads and then a slash. So we're going to display the photo if we have one. So if a photo has been attached, this code will show it. And I think we need also an offset of we'll add a class here as well. Class equals, we'll try it. So let's see how this works. If we have a photo, print it out. Okay, well, our photo shows up. I probably should put this in a div tag. It's also quite big, isn't it? If there's no image, that's fine, nothing shows up. I'll just reformat this a little bit. I'm also going to give this a class. I want to scale it down. Okay, there is an IMG thumbnail class that comes with Bootstrap. So maybe I'll try that. I'll put the updated code up in a second and let's see if that looks better before I share it. So let me go back. No, that class is no good, I don't think. Well, we'll inspect the class. I think we'll use my own class. Oh, it's not being applied. You know what? I'll make my own class called thumbnail. So I'm going to limit this to maybe 100 pixels wide in our style sheet. Go to styles. I'll create a thumbnail class. I'll put it in the chat. So no wider than 100 pixels. We'll see how that works. I don't know why it keeps caching, which is annoying me. Let me try this again. Okay, I keep getting my image cached. I don't know why. I'll leave it for now. So I've got class of thumbnail, which I've defined as at 100 pixels wide. So I should be able to change the image now. Let's see what happens if I browse, pick a new image. Pick this one, save. And now it updates my image. So that's good, that's working. There's still one little logic problem. Let's say I change something else here, but I don't want to change my image. Okay, so I'll change my year, but I don't need to update the image. When I go to save and come back, Notice now my image got wiped out. How come this happened? Why, if I have an image, but I don't change it, I just change some other property of the game, I don't want to have to re-upload this file. I've already got the image I want. So how come it gets wiped out? We'll have to address this problem. It's no problem to go from no image to adding an image, or to go from one image to an alternate. But if we want to modify a game and leave the image alone, our code right now can't handle that. Let's look at why. In our save page, here's what happens, right? We're initializing photo to null. And if nothing gets uploaded, we're then updating our record with that null value. So we have no logic to handle this scenario. We already have an image and the user's changing something else about the game, but they don't want to, they're happy with the image. They don't want to change it. So we need a little trick for this. Down here, we're going to use, just like we use the hidden input for the game ID, we want to store the name of the current image. So if the user's updating the game without changing the image, we want to keep the existing image. So I'll call this current photo. Little bit of a hack. So our value will print out the photo. So then on our next page, we can check if there is a current photo. We'll keep it. So I've put it in the chat. And we can have a look at how this works. So first I'm going to add, I've got the Tetris logo, so I'm going to include it. So here's Tetris. So this was part of that zip file I put on Blackboard. So now when I go to update it, it shows me the Tetris file. If I want to modify something here without removing this image, I'll go back to save. And we'll need to add a little bit of code here. We're initializing it to null. After this, if no file is uploaded, we need an else. In that case, we have to set photo equal to that hidden photo field. So we want to keep the existing photo when the user is modifying a game, but doesn't upload a new picture. So this has got to go, here's our if, where we're checking for a file upload. I'm going to attach on at the bottom this little else condition. Again, before the if OK equals true. So we'll try this out. Again, I'll have to go through all three scenarios again. adding a photo to a game with no photo, changing one photo to another, or updating a game with a photo but leaving the existing photo in place. So if I go to update this now, we can see if I view the source of my page. To figure, why is my class not working? Oh, because I've already got a class here. That's why. Dumb. But you can see it's got the current photo in here. I've defined the class twice. I'll fix that in a moment. That's why it's appearing so big, because I'm dumb. Let's say I change the game year. I don't want to delete the photo. I'm not going to upload a new one. I'm just changing something up in the top of the form. Now, when I save, it updates the year, but now it doesn't wipe out my photo. If I want to change the photo, now it works. I can put it back to my Tetris photo. Delete these two. I'm just going to fix my class definition here, which is silly. I have class twice. So I should just be able to use thumbnail here. That should scale my image down to 100 pixels. So now if I edit my game, I get a smaller image. Okay, I can go and start putting images into my catalog. And we only have one more simple thing to do, which is we also want to add the images to this page. This game doesn't exist, so I'll change the name and browse. So we're just going to add a column here. If we have an image, we want to show it. So we'll go to our games page, and then we're done. So on games, I'm going to add one column with no heading, just an empty header. And I'll put it after the title. That's on games.php. And then after the name of the game, we'll display an image here if there is one. So we'll put an empty th as our second set of headings. And then I'll close my first TD here on line 49. Yeah. I'll add a new echo command here. And then we'll echo a new column. And in here, we're going to check if we have an image, we're going to display it. Oops, I don't need PHP tags for this. So let's say if it's not null, we're going to display the image. Oh, sorry, this is v is our variable in this case. So if there is an image, we're going to print it into that second column as a thumbnail. So there's the changed code. So after our title, we're going to close that column, open up our new column, check for a photo, and if we have one, we're going to display it as a thumbnail. Just going to see if this works. I think I also need to modify my thumbnail class. Yeah, so the images show, rather than them being the same width, I think I actually want to scale the height. So I'm just going to change my style. Again, I could have resized all the images the way I wanted them to be. I'll change the CSS so that all the rows are the same height. I mean, it looks a little wonky, but you get the idea. So now we can see which ones have images and which ones don't. So I'm going to upload this code to AWS. I'm going to put it on GitHub in a minute. And again, I need to ensure that I create the IMG and game uploads folder and I enable the right permissions. Otherwise, this is going to fail. It works using my local server, but it will fail on AWS. And including file uploads is part of what you need to do for assignment 2. So whatever folder you're going to upload to, you must enable write permissions. So I'm going to go back here. And in my PHP gaming, I'm going to upload my IMG folder. And in here, my game uploads, I need to set these write permissions. It defaults that write is not enabled. So I'm going to check it off and click OK. And now I'll upload my other files. So I should be able to do this on AWS as well. Oh, I didn't upload my style sheet. So I'm going to upload my modified CSS too. So if I log in here, So now I can go and edit a game. I want to make sure it also works on the server. So now I can edit a game, and my image upload works here as well on AWS. So you'll need to include file uploads in your assignment. If you're doing option A, you'll integrate it much the same way we did today. When you are adding or editing, you should be able to upload a file along with it. If you're doing option B, the content management system, your file upload is going to appear here in the header as the logo for your site. So how you implement it depends on which option for the assignment you choose. So your reference for file uploads, those slides are here. I'm going to upload everything to GitHub, and I will put today's recordings onto YouTube as soon as they're done processing. So it's 3. I guess this would be integrated file upload. Okay, so all of today's code is on GitHub now.